Hello and welcome again to the Writer Review. This is Eric Red Rutter, and this week we're going to be taking a look back at the 2008 dark comedy titled Burn After Reading. Now, Burn After Reading runs for 1 hour and 36 minutes long. It is directed, produced, written, and edited by the Coen brothers, Joel and Ethan Coen. The score was done by Carter Burwell, the cinematography by Emmanuel Lubezki, and the stars of the movie are George Clooney, Frances McDormand, Brad Pitt, John Malkovich, Tilda Swinton, Richard Jenkins, Elizabeth Marvel, David Rashi, J.K. Simmons, and Oleg Krupa. Sure, Burn After Reading is a zany screwball comedy written and directed by the Coen brothers, and it definitely goes way beyond the screwball elements of the genre. The casting was definitely well thought of, the plot was surreal and spontaneous, and everyone truly feels at home here. I was especially impressed with the performance by Brad Pitt as the thick-haired, gum-smacking fitness guru Chad Feldheimer. I've always thought of him as a great actor, but here he cranks it up a notch and just lights up every time he's on screen. It's a role that's really out of this world. What I mean by that is that George Clooney and Frances McDormand, who are seeking for a relationship, thinks that she will find her Mr. Right on dating websites, even though her physique may not attract a lot. But hey, give her credit for trying. I mean, she seems to depend on plastic surgery, and her plastic surgeon does some incredible work to all various body parts to make her feel good about herself. She also works, her and Chad work at a fitness health center where her boss, played by Richard Jenkins, actually likes her for the way she is naturally. But she's not exactly particularly sure about herself. She's middle-aged, she has poor self-esteem issues, and she's still trying to pursue her Mr. Right. George Clooney stars as a philandering U.S. Marshal by the name of Harry Farrer. Harry also seems to be addicted to dating sites and will date practically anyone that smiles back at him. Harry and Linda introduce themselves and seem very comfortable with each other, but that is until Linda and Chad eventually find a secretive disc that holds personal information to a CIA officer, or I should say an ex-CIA officer, who goes by the name of Osborne Cox, played by John Malkovich, who was fired for being inebriated on the job. Cox is married to a child doctor or pediatrician named Katie, played by Tilda Swinton, who has a negative attitude and seems to also come across as being unlikable. How she became a pediatrician, I guess she just does it for the money. Anyway, she's been promiscuous with Harry, and well, the plot will likely thicken. If you think about it, there's a lot of very unlikable characters in this movie, with maybe the exceptions of being the principal three, be it Harry, Linda, and Chad. No apologies about it. The plot does meander here, there, and everywhere. And sure, it wraps up quite nicely. It's not the real reason why this film is incredible. The characters and the dialogue sell by itself. Linda and Chad definitely are great together, and they take this top secretive disc to the Russian embassy, which hopefully they would give them a nice cash reward so that Linda could pay off her plastic surgery bills. And maybe the money could probably help, fix up the health center that Linda and Chad work. This leads to the boys and girls over at the top CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, to take charge. The dedicated CIA officer, played by David Rasche, takes this case to his superior, played by J.K. Simmons. The boss definitely has little dialogue, but can deliver a witty punchline here and there. This movie is definitely saturated with one-liners, punchlines, and stuff like that. It's a movie that's definitely not to be taken seriously, and I gotta say, this is lighthearted, and everybody here just seems like they're just organically having fun here. John Malkovich strikes a chord every time he graces the screen as the ex-CIA official named Osborne Cox. He's an inebriate, but definitely denies himself on these accusations because he remains punctual in a compulsive manner. He's condescending, cue-balled, hates people, and was actually impressed how he caught those two plebeians at the gym. And of course, he hires assassins to try and take them down one way or another. Malkovich's character, Osborne Cox, after he got fired from his job as a CIA, decides that he's going to spend his time at home writing his memoirs. But of course, his child doctor wife completely dismisses it, saying that everything that he has accomplished in life is just total bullshit. But it does play off very, very humorously. Clooney can show that he can transform his characters, making him very versatile in everything he does. I mean, 1 minute he's serious and focused, and then after a wink of an eye, he can be a moody imbecile. You never know what Clooney's expressions has in store for us. This definitely marks the third and final time that Clooney has been played a doofus character in a Coen's brother movie. The first was Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? The second one being Intolerable Cruelty. And while as much as he can play serious and focused characters, it's definitely a great honor to see Clooney can take the time to lampoon himself every now and then. Frances McDormand is truly fun to watch here as the determined individual, and she's also played off some great comical passages in this movie, very similar to her character role in the 1996 movie Fargo. Even though it's still, Fargo is still, superior to Burn After Reading, but still, hey, her comical approach has not been, undermined here. But still, Fargo definitely takes the cake here in her career. So yeah, Frances McDormand really, really, truly shines in this role. She also has a great deal of innocent intentions about her. And I guess we could kind of agree that this top secret information to the Russian embassy is her mission and will stop at nothing to achieve her goal. Sure, this top secret disc might be a little bit something more overwhelming to her expectations. I mean, maybe even she didn't quite expect this whole thing to come into her life. And I guess you could say, yeah, she does play off a very solid, effective role. In every role she stars in, she just seems naturally fit and comfortable, and it organically works out in the end. In the end, Burn After Reading is clearly not the greatest Coen Brothers movie of all time, nor will it make you go into any kind of deep thinking. Still, it's, a very funny film. It's energetic and definitely has some great levels of sadness. After all, Chad Feldmeyer's character does get killed. So there is some violence in this movie. I mean, hey, you're dealing with the CIA, you're dealing with the Russian embassy, so you're bound to have some form of violence and some form of retribution. And sometimes it just does not go across as being very pretty either. I mean, we know that the characters we have to endure within the next 95 minutes, they're not the most sanely bunch either. I'm not complaining that the film was too long. In fact, it's at a quite reasonable length. My gripe here is that the ending was way too free, and it just ended quite abruptly, without any kind of climactic integrity in the end. If I was to find any major weakness, yeah, I mean, this movie is saturated with flaws, but this is actually the main gripe that I have, is that the ending just ends without really any kind of climactic finish. And, you know, and one other thing too, like I mentioned before, the plot meanders here, there, and everywhere. And it also leaves us with several questions left unanswered, that many issues remain uncovered. So you may think that this movie does not make a lot of sense, and you're right, it doesn't. There's a lot of nonsense that goes around, and it sometimes can be quite confusing. But in the end, you know, like I said, I was mostly entertained by the characters and the dialogue, and that performers did everything they can to at least get invested in their characters, because we know that the plot wasn't very good, the direction wasn't very good, but like I said, the actors and the dialogue is what saved the movie from being total trash. But it wasn't like complete trash. So when all said and done, if I was to give this movie a scale out of 10, I will give Burn After Reading a 6. So if you wish to see it for just one time only, that's quite sufficient. Would I recommend it? If you're into like these kind of zany screwball comedies where you can suspend your disbelief, then you probably might find this movie enjoyable. If you're a fan of the Coen brothers, then this movie might be for you. But if you're more into like serious-minded stuff with a solid, coherent plot, you probably might be disappointed. That's my 2 cents. So I guess this ends my writer review. Thank you all for listening in. If you wish to subscribe to my channel, please feel free to do so. If you wish to leave a comment, go right ahead. But just remember the three rules: be kind, be courteous, and don't be rude. And I will be back again with another movie review. So until next time, this is Eric Red Writer saying, keep watching those movies, and I'll see you around. Goodbye.